Loyalty. It looks different now. Some people still stand for a flag, others just follow stability wherever it's available. A visa, a contract, a better exchange rate, a love, a romance, a relationship, or just your mother. Therapists are in different time zones. Co workers feel closer than your current neighbors. And most decisions, big or small, are shaped by where the money lands, the currency that you earn. We live across calendars, currencies, and platforms today. We belong to group chats, not geographies. And still, we carry nationalities like ID cards we didn't sign up for. So the question is not about whether we are loyal, but who or what we are loyal to, and what makes us what we are today. And finally, the one who really has you is the currency, the one lover who never forgets your number and leaves you wanting more. With that metaphor pressed against your skin, welcome to Anthropologically Yours. I am Rashmi, and today's episode will make some of you cry. Some of you will take a deep sigh. But the rest of you, you will finally feel seen, and that might hurt more than you expected. You are about to confront the truth behind the most erotic identity you never chose for yourself, being a patriot. The recent turn of global affairs made me think longer than usual, and I ask you, is patriotism still relevant, or is it just a performance? And if it's performance, who are we really performing for? Ourselves? Are we sure? What does it mean to belong to a country when the world feels like a theater of obedience? So perfectly choreographed, even the air waits for permission before entering your lungs. And one day, you'll look out your window and the tall trees swaying in the wind, they look like you. Beautiful, still, rooted where they didn't choose to grow, a damsel in distress, performing calm while praying for a storm. Let's talk about a love story of patriotism, I would say, a love story with a narcissist. We're told patriotism is love, but what if it's not love, it's a loyalty without consent? You did not choose your country of birth. You were born into a story you did not write, a language you inherited, a history you were told was yours. You grew up saying we when talking about wars you never fought and borders you never built. That's not love, that's grooming. As Benedict Anderson wrote in Imagined Communities, nations are not real in the way rivers or bones are real. They are real because we repeat the performance until it feels like truth. We cry during the anthem. We decorate our LinkedIn with working profoundly and proudly for X country. We say our soldiers, our culture, our people. But who is ours? Let me take you through the spectacle of nationalism, a quiet reflection with Rabindranath Tagore. What if nationalism isn't a belief but a performance? A story we rehearse so often we forget we are in a costume. Nationalism rarely storms in with boots and drums anymore. Now it enters with soft lighting, background music, and your social media algorithms. It flirts before it dominates. It's a charismatic theater which gives us goosebumps. Anthropologist Clifford Geertz said that symbols shape how we experience reality when the flag becomes more powerful than the human under it. Something has shifted, and the most dangerous part, we like the shift. Uniforms, flags, parades, anthem playlists, trending hashtags, they don't just express loyalty, they choreograph it. Over 100 years ago, Rabindranath Tagore spoke not as an enemy of the nation, but as a lover of its soul. He warned of nationalism becoming too mechanical, too orchestrated, too loud to leave room for truth. Nationalism is a great menace, he wrote, not because he hated belonging, because he feared the cost of blind allegiance. He believed that real patriotism lives not in spectacle but in silence, in the way we treat each other, in our capacity to question power without fear, in choosing love over loyalty when the two don't align. And in our century, Arundhati Roy sharpened that warning. She wrote, nationalism of the kind that leads to genocide, of the kind that lead to fascism, is now masquerading as the very thing it once destroyed: freedom. See, Roy isn't anti-love, she is anti-myth. She exposes how nationalism sells us a fantasy of belonging while demanding our obedience in return. Ask yourself, are we protecting truth or just protecting the image of it? Are we really proud or just afraid of what will happen if we are not? Think of the aftermath of war, real war, not the kind fought on screens. We have seen what happens when nationalism forgets to be plural. Pluralism asks who gets to be our own. That's the real test. Not whether you wave the flag, but whether you had sheltered someone carrying another flag. And patriotism says we protect our own. So, who are we protecting? Because nationalism doesn't need you to believe in anything, it just needs you to keep performing. Today, we live in a world where power is projected in high definition. Nations assert strength through satellites, summits, digital currencies, and even dropping bombs. Borders are monitored by drones, pride is uploaded in real time, and identity is increasingly managed by algorithms. And that's not wrong, but it is worth noticing. Because in our need to feel proud, to feel protected, to feel safe, and to feel part of something, have we stopped asking what exactly are we part of? Have we mistaken image for essence? Are we building nations that serve people or building people who serve a narrative? These aren't accusations, these are invitations. Love that's chosen, inherited, or momentary, it still demands the truth. And perhaps that's the truest patriotism there is. We talk about nationalism as if it's new. It's not. We talk about it as if it has arrived with hashtags and parades just now, but no. Migration has always shaped identity, not just in our generation, but across empires. The partition of India, if we talk about, in 1947, displaced over 15 million people in weeks, creating borders with barbed wire, but also with memory that stayed till their last breath. Sindhis, Bengalis, Punjabis, uprooted not by choice but by paperwork. And generations later, we still ask, which side of the train were your grandparents on? Jews, Armenians, Kurds, Rohingyas, Tamils, Ukrainians. Every diaspora is a body trying to remember where its voice was last safe. Anthropologist Lisa Mulkey said that refugees aren't just displaced from place, they are exiled from narrative. See, globalization is not a modern miracle. It's just colonial trade routes wrapped in fiber optic cables today. We did not invent displacement, we digitized it. So maybe it's time we stop asking who belongs where and start asking what stories have we buried to feel at home. Let's talk about our own complicity. Let me ask you something deeply uncomfortable. How many of us ignored genocide because it wasn't our country? How many of us use national holidays to feel pride we did not earn? How many of us say, I'm apolitical while banking on political systems to protect our privilege? We think we are innocent, but we are woven into the machine. Your job, your passport, your silence, they all have fingerprints on them. And the question isn't whether you are patriotic. The question is, who taught you what loyalty should feel like? And what are you sacrificing for it? Now, this brings me to the global workers' heartbreak. Let's be honest. We were told we were the future, fluent in 3 languages, holding degrees in someone else's mother tongue, armed with visas, certifications, and curated humility. But nobody told us that being a global worker meant being homeless in every direction. You work for a company whose slogans you memorized, but whose country wouldn't pronounce your name without flattening it. You write Dear Team emails while holding your breath, and every day you carry a silence so loud it has its own time zone. You are not fragmented, you were made to break apart, professionally efficient, emotionally discarded, culturally diluted. Anthropologist Zygmunt Bauman called this liquid modernity, where stability evaporates and identities are traded for access cards and security clearances. You were told you belong everywhere, but your tax ID, your accent, your visa renewal form, they all keep asking which part of the world raised your silence. And every time you answer, a small part of you dies trying to make it sound palatable. We talk about patriotism, but for whom? When safety becomes a loyalty test, when belonging is a transaction, when your roots are not loved, they are tolerated. So you start trading truth for safety, and safety becomes the cage you decorate just to stay employed, just to earn that currency. You speak just enough, smile just enough, blend just enough, until you don't know who you are outside your LinkedIn bio. And you still say, my country, my pride, not because it's true, but because it's the only line left that does not scare your manager. And this is what no one talks about. Sometimes the price of being safe is your selfhood. And the ones who control what safe means, trust me, they never look like you. So tonight, ask yourself, not as a worker, not as a citizen, but as a person, are you safe? Or are you just quite enough to be left alone? Let's talk about the romantic, the rootless, and the rebellious. Some of us are lovers, but not the Instagram kind. We fall in love between inboxes and immigration lines. We flirt on Slack, then grieve on Google Translate. We steal glances during coffee breaks in open plan offices and make promises across firewalls, oceans, and time zones. Some of us have kissed someone with a passport we were told to fear. Some of us have moaned in another language another mother tongue we were taught to erase. And still, every morning we show up for companies that confuse diversity with decor. We badge in, we perform love and labor both at the same time. And when the audit's over, someone still asks, "Where are you really from?" Anthropologist Laila Abu Lugod said, "When women love across borders, they become wild." But what she didn't say is how often these women of love choose to stay wild because the script, it's too small to fit our hunger. We love in languages that contradict our LinkedIn bios. We love like the state didn't design us. We desire like policy doesn't apply to skin. And here's the real scandal. You can love a country and still resist its seduction. You can stand for a nation but kneel in private for someone forbidden. You can be loyal to your land and still ache for someone its laws wouldn't recognize. Patriotism isn't monogamy, and nationalism doesn't understand desire. If you have ever made love in a hotel booked under a different name, if you have ever whispered "I love you" across a firewalled VPN, if you have ever deleted a message to stay employed, this episode is yours. You are not disloyal. You are not a risk. You are just telling the truth. And some nations, like some lovers, don't know what to do with a truth that doesn't kneel. So are we stripping the flag to find the soul? Well, it's up to you. This is not a rejection of roots. This is an invitation to grow new ones across people, causes, truths, and futures that do not require permission slips. You are not your country. You are not your accent. Think. Are you your LinkedIn headline? And are you your passport? You are what you fight for when no one is watching. You are what you choose to belong to when loyalty hurts. And this, my friend, this was Anthropologically Yours, and I am Rashmi. And if you have made it to the end, you are no longer just a citizen. You are awake. Thank you for walking this far. I will be back soon with shadows, with echoes, and with stories that breathe between the lines. Stay aware, stay unscripted. Take care. See you very soon.